You shift your weight from one foot to the other. The carpet presses under your toes. You notice something is off, a strange buzzing, or nothing at all, like the floor disappeared under the balls of your feet. You blink, look down. Your shoes, the rug, the floor, but your feet don't answer back. You take a small step. It wobbles. Not from clumsiness. Something is missing. A signal, maybe. Or years of ignoring the tiny messages your body used to send. The muscles twitch, your shins tighten, your ankles make dozens of tiny corrections. You try again. One step, then another. And you realize you've been walking on autopilot, and autopilot isn't helping anymore. Most people hear neuropathy and stop listening. A word, labels, prescription pads. And then, wait, nothing changes. But research shows nerves can adapt. Slowly, carefully, the brain can relearn. Paths that seemed broken can reroute. You don't need to accept numbness as permanent. You just need a way to wake the system up. Look down again. Wiggle your toes. Tap the heel. Push into the floor. Tiny messages travel upward, not all at once, not perfectly, but they move. A subtle reminder. Something buried in your body still remembers how to speak to your brain. It just needs coaxing. And maybe that's the question. Can you teach your body to talk again? You sit down, shoes off, feet on the floor. You've heard it before. It's neuropathy. Nothing can be done. Doctors say it's common in older adults. Diabetes, chemotherapy, aging, blood flow slows, nerves wear out, pills, creams, pain relief. That's it. But look closer, listen. People shuffle. They hesitate on stairs. They stop walking. Their posture slumps. And they believe, just believe, that this is normal, that the tingling, the numbness, the instability is simply what age looks like. Friends nod politely. Family worries. You nod back. You don't argue, because who wants to challenge the word of a doctor? And yet, you feel the difference. The ground doesn't feel right. Your toes don't feel like yours. You step over cracks, avoid edges. It isn't just the nerves, it's the brain too. It's how the body and brain talk. When messages slow or drop, your movements shrink. Confidence disappears. You don't notice it at first. A walk around the block, then a step onto the porch. The world narrows. Research, however, shows the story is incomplete. Nerve damage doesn't always mean permanent loss. The nervous system adapts. Slowly, the brain can relearn. Signals can improve with targeted movement. Oxygen, blood flow, coordinated motion. These are more than words on paper. They're tools the body responds to. So the real question isn't why is this happening? It's what part of this can I still fix? And the answer is not in giving up. It's in small, deliberate steps. Pressing into the floor, lifting a heel, reaching across the body, rewiring old pathways. Because the misconception, the one that holds so many back, is that nothing works. That numbness is final. That tingling is inevitable. But science hints otherwise. Not a miracle, not overnight, but a map to reconnect. One step, one signal, one movement at a time. You press your heel into the floor, lift your toes, feel the muscles react. This is where science meets action. Neuropathy isn't just a feeling, it's measurable. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that peripheral nerves can deteriorate from diabetes, chemotherapy, or restricted circulation in older adults. 1. The damage occurs in the protective coating around nerves, the myelin sheath, and in the tiny blood vessels that supply them. When nerves lose oxygen, the signals they carry, foot to brain, brain to foot, start misfiring. Tingling, numbness, balance problems. Clinical trials provide evidence that targeted movement matters. A 2019 review in the Lancet Neurology looked at older adults with diabetic neuropathy. Participants who engaged in structured, balance-focused exercises improved gait speed, reduced fall risk, and even reported less numbness after 12 weeks, too. The mechanism, repeated controlled movement, stimulates neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new pathways and strengthen existing ones. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention note that while medications may ease pain, they do not restore nerve function. Instead, combining aerobic activity Strength training and ankle-foot mobility exercises enhances nerve health indirectly by increasing blood flow and oxygenation to affected areas. 3. Even light aerobic activity, walking in place, marching, raises heart rate just enough to dilate blood vessels and flush metabolic waste from the nerves. Evidence also comes from rehabilitation studies. The Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy published a trial showing that simple exercises, heel raises, toe lifts, and seated diagonal chops, improve postural control and foot-ankle strength in seniors with neuropathy. 4. Participants did not require advanced equipment. Some worked seated, others standing, but both groups demonstrated measurable improvement in stability tests. Peer-reviewed consensus is clear. While neuropathy cannot always be fully reversed, structured exercise consistently produces functional gains. It reduces fall risk, improves walking confidence, and stimulates the nervous system to strengthen remaining healthy nerve pathways. Limitations are worth noting. Not every individual responds the same. Progress can be slow. Exercise programs must be tailored to ability, support availability, and comorbid conditions. But multiple sources, from NIH, WHO, CDC, and high-quality trials point in the same direction. Movement matters, and it matters more than most people are told. You lift one leg again, tap the toes. Feel the small connection. Evidence suggests even small, consistent steps can shift the nervous system. Slowly, deliberately, the brain begins to recognize the floor beneath you once more. You shift your weight from one foot to the other. The floor presses up. Your ankle adjusts. Your calf twitches. Beneath the skin, a network of wires hums silently. These are your nerves. Electrical signals. Tiny pulses traveling from toes to spinal cord to brain and back again. Peripheral nerves have a protective coating, myelin. Think of it like insulation on a wire. It keeps signals fast and accurate. When blood sugar is high over time, or when chemotherapy damages cells, or when circulation slows with age, that insulation wears thin. Signals leak. The brain asks, "Where's the foot?" The foot responds, but sometimes the message never arrives. Tingling, numbness, wobbling. Inside the muscle, small fibers sense stretch, pressure, and position. Called proprioceptors, they inform the brain about balance and posture. If the nerve signal is weak, the brain receives blurry information. You take a step, and your body guesses where the floor is. You notice it. Tiny corrections in ankles, calves, thighs. But they feel exaggerated. You shuffle. You hesitate. Neuroplasticity is the body's built-in repair mechanism. Neurons can form new connections. The brain can reroute around damaged nerves. It's slower in adults, but it works. Repeated targeted movement sends fresh signals. Blood flow increases. Oxygen reaches starved nerves. Growth factors like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, activate. Muscle fibers respond. Synapses strengthen. Connections improve. You lift your heel, then toes. Micro adjustments in your ankle fire repeatedly. That tiny repetition tells the brain, pay attention. Muscles play a role too. The calf muscles, the gastrocnemius and soleus, contract with heel lifts. The anterior tibialis lifts the toes. These muscles stabilize joints. When neuropathy sets in, they weaken. Exercises that isolate these movements retrain muscle memory while stimulating nerve endings. You feel a burn. That is not just weakness, it's activation. That burn is communication returning. Balance involves more than feet. Core muscles stabilize the center of gravity. During diagonal chops or standing single-leg exercises, your spine, abs, glutes, and shoulders coordinate. Signals travel in multiple directions, foot to brain, core to brain, brain back to foot. Each repetition reinforces these pathways. Even seated exercises contribute. The nervous system integrates the information, strengthens circuits, and improves coordination. Vascular health is central. Tiny capillaries supply oxygen and nutrients to nerves. Aerobic movement dilates vessels, improves circulation, and helps repair nerve insulation. Blood brings nutrients, removes waste. Nerves are highly metabolic. Without sufficient blood flow, signals degrade. This explains why even light aerobic movement, marching in place, makes a measurable difference. Repetition, attention, and gradual challenge are key. Over time, these coordinated movements, small, deliberate, precise, enhance signal clarity. Nerves are not fully restored necessarily, but communication improves. The brain stops guessing. Muscles activate automatically. Foot, ankle, core, and brain begin to speak the same language again. You press into the floor, lift your toes, hold. Feel the micro corrections in the ankle, calf, and thigh. That is your nervous system learning. Slowly, consistently, not perfectly, not instantly, but better than before. You step onto the porch, one foot, then the other. The ground feels different today. Not perfect, but better than last week. That is the long-term impact in action. Neuropathy doesn't just tingle or numb your toes. Over time, weakened nerves and muscles affect how you move, how you balance. Gait slows, stairs feel steeper, chairs feel higher. Walking outdoors shrinks from a habit to a chore. Functional independence can decline. Research shows that when peripheral nerve signaling is compromised, older adults face higher fall risk and slower mobility. A 2018 BMJ review observed that even mild sensory deficits in feet predict reduced walking speed and decreased balance confidence. 1. The consequences ripple outward. Less activity, reduced cardiovascular health, weaker muscles, and eventually diminished health span. Conversely, studies highlight that consistent, targeted movement can improve function. Exercise interventions, strengthening calves, shins, and core, are associated with better balance, improved walking speed, and fewer falls, too. The effects are probabilistic, not guaranteed, but the trend is clear. Deliberate movement improves functional capacity. Improved neural signaling also preserves coordination and proprioception. Even subtle gains reduce reliance on visual feedback. You stop staring at your feet. Posture improves. Muscles regain memory. Everyday tasks, stepping off a curb, reaching for a shelf, become easier. Confidence follows, not magically, not overnight, but incrementally. Long-term, these improvements support independence, reduce fall risk, and may slow secondary complications like joint strain or cardiovascular deconditioning. It doesn't erase the cause of neuropathy, but it can reclaim part of what was lost. The feeling of control, the subtle feedback from floor to brain, and the simple act of walking freely again. You pause, lift your toes, one step, another, and realize you can still shape the way your body responds, long after symptoms first appeared. You stand at the edge of your rug, one foot planted, the other lightly touches the floor. Experts agree, movement matters, not just for strength, but for nerve function. Clinical practice guidelines from the American Diabetes Association note that regular low-impact exercise improves peripheral nerve health and reduces fall risk in adults with diabetic neuropathy. 1. The CDC emphasizes aerobic activity, balance training, and foot-ankle exercises as part of comprehensive care. 2. The NIH highlights that even seated exercises can improve circulation and maintain muscle activation. 3. Consensus is strong in certain areas. Exercise helps function. Balance, coordination, and muscle strength improve with consistent practice. Aerobic movement supports nerve health. Increased blood flow brings oxygen and nutrients to peripheral nerves. Targeted foot-ankle movements matter. Activating specific muscles enhances proprioception and stability. There is less certainty in some areas. Exercise does not always reverse nerve damage completely. The optimal intensity, frequency, and combination of exercises are still under study. Results vary by individual age, comorbidities, and severity of neuropathy. Where evidence is lacking, experts recommend gradual progression and individualized adjustments. The emphasis is not on a miracle cure, but on functional gains and safety. Use support when standing. Start seated if needed. Focus on controlled movement and proper form. The message is consistent across reputable authorities. Neuropathy can impair life, but structured, regular, and safe movement is beneficial. It improves the way the brain and nerves communicate, strengthens muscles, and reduces fall risk. You lift your heel, then toes, slowly, deliberately. You feel the small adjustments in your ankle. Experts call it functional recovery. You call it taking back control step by step. You sit down, shoes off, feet flat on the floor. Take a moment, press down, wiggle your toes, feel the subtle feedback from the floor. That is the start. Experts recommend simple low-risk approaches. Marching in place while seated, lifting heels, lifting toes, clasping hands and sweeping them diagonally across the body, standing with one foot lightly supporting your balance. Each movement sends signals from muscles and joints to your brain. Slowly, pathways reactivate. Safety is key. Always have a stable surface nearby. A sturdy chair, a countertop, or a corner of a room works. Begin seated if standing feels unsafe. Progress only when you feel steady. Don't rush. Micro adjustments matter more than repetitions. Consistency matters more than intensity. 2 to 3 short sessions per week, minutes at a time, can maintain blood flow, activate muscles, and stimulate nerve pathways. Gradually, confidence in walking improves. Everyday actions become smoother. Posture improves. Balance stabilizes. Questions to discuss with a healthcare professional might include, are these exercises appropriate for my current condition? How often should I progress from seated to standing? Are there any limitations related to medications or other health issues? Even without medical supervision, these movements are low-risk, evidence-informed ways to reconnect your feet with your brain. Small, deliberate steps, one signal at a time. You lift a heel, then toes, and notice. Your body begins to remember. You stand. One foot firmly on the floor, the other lightly touches behind. Tiny muscles adjust. Signals flicker from toes to brain. Not perfect, not instant, but present. This is what progress feels like. Small, subtle, incremental, a connection returning. You may still wobble, still feel tingling, still hesitate, and that's okay. Each step, each lift, each micro adjustment matters. Remember, your body remembers more than you think. Nerves can adapt, muscles can strengthen, the brain can relearn. It's a slow conversation between floor and foot, nerve and brain. You're not waiting for a miracle. You're reclaiming control, one deliberate movement at a time. Start where you are. Use support if needed. Repeat, gradually, consistently. Celebrate tiny wins, a steadier step, a longer walk, a small confidence regained. Over weeks, months, the simple act of walking can feel different. Safer, stronger, clearer. And when you pause and feel the floor under your feet, take a moment to notice it. That connection, tiny, alive, is yours to rebuild. One step, one lift, one signal at a time. Medical disclaimer. This content is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a licensed healthcare professional before starting any new exercise routine, particularly if you have existing health conditions, neuropathy, diabetes, or mobility limitations. Individual responses to exercise may vary, and what is safe for one person may not be safe for another. The exercises described are intended as general guidance and should be adapted to your personal ability, comfort, and safety. Stop immediately if you experience pain, dizziness, or discomfort, and seek professional evaluation. Your health and safety should always come first.